Right, a special good morning to you for the 4th of February. Wow, time is really getting on, and perhaps we'll get a message tomorrow now about whether we know about whether schools are going to be reopening. But, the whole COVID-19 pandemic has caused lots of changes for everybody, and perhaps we'll get a little bit more news tomorrow. This week's been full of news, isn't it? Captain Sir Tom Moore unfortunately died, and he's been a real inspiration to a lot of people through this pandemic. And you may have seen on the news, or when you perhaps watching News Round, because I know some of you, particularly year sixes, you News Round is one of your favourites. You may have seen about vaccinations, and vaccinations mean, well, a lot of you get vaccinations in school anyway, don't you? You've had flu vaccinations where they put the little spray up your nose. But you would have seen with COVID-19 people going for vaccinations and having a needle put in their arm. And we hear today a little bit about vaccinations and about a gentleman called Edward Jenner. And I didn't really know this story, a lot about it, till I read it, first of all. So you will have seen, as I said, people going for vaccinations or injections to have their vaccine against COVID-19. And at the moment, it's lots of older people, isn't it? So I know they've got targets for people over 80, over 70. Then I think they're going to do the over 60s, and then people with health conditions, and then the under 50s. So I don't know when I'll get my vaccination or when teachers will get theirs, but when we get the chance, I'm sure all of us are going to be straight over to get our vaccinations against COVID-19. So perhaps somebody you know may have already had a vaccine, may have had the injection. But today's story is about vaccinations and a gentleman called Edward Jenner. Gemma and Aaron were brother and sister, and they were both very excited about their forthcoming school holiday. They would be accompanying their mum and dad on a trip to Africa, where they would go on safari. Oh, imagine that. See lots of animals and spend nights under the stars. Gemma had been packing her bags for nearly a week now and was so excited she found it difficult to sleep. Aaron, on the other hand, was less excited, but Gemma couldn't understand why. Aaron, I don't understand. This will be a fantastic holiday. What are you worrying about? She asked. Aaron refused to talk about it and instead packed his things very slowly into his suitcase. Walking into the kitchen, Aaron saw the one thing which scared him the most, the appointment card for the hospital appointment. Oh, these came today, said Mum, as she served the dinner onto their plates. She was holding the appointment cards for the hospital. Oh, yes, our injections. Are we having them, Mum? Asked Gemma. Yes, all four of us. We need this injection so that we don't catch any diseases or illnesses whilst we are away, replied Mum. It was happening again. Aaron felt unwell all of a sudden, and his face was turning a light shade of green. Are you okay, Aaron? You look like you've seen a ghost, said Mum politely. What do you think he's worried about? Tell us, Aaron, what's wrong? You've been like this all week, asked Gemma. I'm really scared about having the injection. I hate needles and it makes me feel nervous, replied Aaron anxiously. It will be fine, said Mum. We all need to have the injection to keep us well and healthy and immune. Aaron thought for a moment. Before he could utter the question, Gemma did it for him. What does immune mean? She asked. Immunity means helping you resist an illness by having a vaccination, replied Mum. What's a vaccination? Asked Gemma. A vaccination is the injection we are all going to have tomorrow. A vaccine against an illness, replied Mum. And you think now have a think why vaccines are useful. That's why you have your flu vaccine every year in school, isn't it? That little squirt up the nose. You don't have to have an injection like in this story. Not all vaccines have to be an injection. Sometimes you can get a spray. Sometimes you can even take a little tablet. The following day arrived, and sure enough, Alan was to be found hugging his stomach at the end of his bed. "I don't want to go. Don't make me go, please," he said. It was too late, and before he could say the word needle, he was in the back of the car and en route to the surgery. "It'll be over before you know it," said Dad calmly. "Injections are silly," said Aaron. "What sort of person invented them anyway?" he muttered angrily. "A man called Edward Jenner is probably the man you should be thanking for today's vaccination. Let me tell you about him," said Dad. Edward Jenner was born in England in the county of Gloucestershire in the year 1749, or a long time ago. Perhaps you can calculate exactly how many years ago, that you wonderful mathematicians. I'll leave that with you. That's a long time ago, even older than your grandmother. At the age of 8, he started school in the countryside. Being a country boy, he loved to be close to nature, and so he would often watch and draw birds and other animals, plants and leaves. As he reached the age of 15, he went to work with a surgeon. Now, surgeon is a type of doctor, isn't it? This was an exciting job for Edward because he got to help the surgeon with preparing medicines. He also watched operations take place and would help the surgeon find the tools he needed to do his job properly. He liked the job so much he decided that one day he would like to become a surgeon. And in fact, by 1772, Edward Jenner became a surgeon back in his hometown of Berkeley in Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire's in England. Back in 1772, a terrible disease was lurking about, and it was called smallpox, a bit like the chicken pox we know today. The disease had been around for many years beforehand, and people around England were very frightened of catching such a thing. Those who became ill with smallpox became covered with spots filled with pus, and many of them lost their lives to the disease. Those who didn't die often went blind or were left with very bad scars from the yellow pus which came from the spots. Cowpox was another disease going around at the time, which was passed from cows to people. Many felt that if you caught cowpox, you would not catch smallpox. Edward Jenner heard what people were saying and thought that there might be some truth in this theory. With that in mind, he started doing some experiments. He injected them with a milder disease in the hope that it would stop them from getting smallpox. At this time, a dairymaid called Sarah Neems was to be Edward Jenner's most famous experiment. She had already contracted cowpox, and so Jenner used the cowpox from Sarah and injected into a boy called James Phipps. His next step was a brave one. He gave James a small dose of smallpox with guess what? And guess what? James didn't catch the disease. Edward Jenner started to vaccinate people, not from a doctor's surgery, not from a hospital, but from a hut in his own garden. He vaccinated the poorest people first. As a result of Edward Jenner's work, people all over the world were cured from getting smallpox, and in 1980 it was announced that the world was completely free from smallpox. "Wow, that's amazing, Dad," said Gemma. "So he's not such a bad man after all," replied Aaron. Within an hour, the family of 4 had been injected and were there on their way home. "You see, it wasn't that bad, was it?" asked Mum. Shaking his head, Aaron agreed. "I suppose so. Thank you, Mr. Jenner," he said, and the others laughed. So Edward Jenner, the pioneer of vaccinations, started with smallpox. And we think of those scientists now across the world working on our vaccine program for COVID-19 so that everybody can get back to school, for older people. But of course, you won't be getting the vaccine. This is just for adults at the moment. But you know what it's like to get a vaccine, as we said, because you have your flu every year. But, think how thankful we are to the women and the men who are working so hard in the science laboratories, carrying on the work of Edward Jenner to get vaccinations for many things across the world, and it's not just COVID-19 that they're working on vaccinations for. There are many, many other diseases across the world which the scientists and doctors and the medical professionals are working really, really hard on. And we think that might be something that, you as a pupil in St Helens Primary School thinking, I really like science, and perhaps that's something that I'd want to do when I left school, perhaps go to university, study to be a doctor or a scientist. It's a wonderful job, and you think of the valuable work that these people are doing in the current pandemic that we've got. So all started by a gentleman in the 1700s called Edward Jenner in Gloucestershire. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll have to wait now to know when I'm going to go for my vaccine against COVID-19. I think my mum and dad, my dad is going to be 70 next month. So perhaps pretty soon he'll be being called for his vaccine. My mum's a little bit younger, just a couple of months. So she perhaps will have to wait a little bit longer. So when you hear on the television about vaccinations, I know some people have already had their vaccine. I know the Queen has had hers, but the Queen is, I think she's 95, something like that, is she? So she's had her vaccine, and you would have seen people on television getting theirs. So very interesting times for vaccines. But today was the story of how they first emerged. Don't forget my question of the week. How many months of the year have 28 days? I've seen people emailing me already with the answer. Some people in school who come to school every day, they've told me the answer. But on Friday will be the big reveal. So have a lovely day. I could see that lots of people watching the assemblies, lots of people getting involved in work. But one thing I have seen as well, because the teachers send me their records of phone calls, and sometimes people have been coming to your houses and they've said, rang at 10:30 or 11 o'clock or knocked the door, children still in bed. Not good at all. Remember what I've said? Early to bed, up as if you were going to school. Now, school does not start at 10:30. Certainly doesn't start at 11 o'clock. So why anybody's still in bed? I have no idea. That's probably telling me that they are going to bed very late in the nights. So up, do your work, contact with your teachers via your teams, doing your best. We know it's a struggle. We know it's hard. We know it's hard to stick to routine, but we must always try our best. And if we're trying our best, we cannot do any more than that. So, as we finish today with our school prayer, Un Dau Tri. This is our school. Let peace dwell here. Let the rooms be full of contentment. Let love abide here. Love for one another and love for life itself. Let our school be a lovely place where all of us are caring to each other, to work our best and show our smiling face, staff and children helping one another today and always. And as we say at the end of every assembly, over and out.